When I said no to covering my brother's gambling debt, my parents locked my daughter outside during a storm, so you'd understand sacrifice. So I filed a police report, pulled the security footage and contacted my lawyer. By the end of the month my parents lost everything. My name is Diane and I need you to understand something right from the start. I'm not a vindictive person. But when my parents locked my 7-year-old daughter outside in a thunderstorm to teach me about sacrifice, they crossed a line so unforgivable that what happened next wasn't revenge. It was justice. It started 3 weeks earlier when my brother Marcus showed up at my door at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday night. I hadn't seen him in months, which honestly had been a relief. "Diane, I need your help," he said, pushing past me into my living room without waiting for an invitation. "How much?" I asked flatly. $35,000. Actually laughed. $35,000? Marcus, are you insane? He started pacing. "It's not my fault. I had a system, I was winning for a while, but then—" "You were gambling," my husband Derek interrupted. "Again. I can pay it back. I just need time, but these guys, they're not the kind of people who give you time. They're threatening me." Do you think I should have felt sorry for him? Because I didn't. This was the 4th time Marcus had gotten himself into gambling trouble, and every single time my parents had bailed him out. They'd remortgaged their house once. Cleaned out their retirement fund another time. "I can't help you," I said simply. His face went red. "Can't or won't?" "Both. Derek and I have a daughter to think about. We have a mortgage, college savings, retirement. We're not throwing away $35,000 on your gambling problem. So you're just going to let them hurt me? I'm going to let you face the consequences of your own actions." Marcus left, slamming the door so hard our neighbor's dog started barking. The next morning my mother called. "Diane Marie Henderson, how could you?" "No, hello. Just straight to the guilt. Your brother could be killed and you're worried about your college fund? This is family. Family doesn't ask for $35,000 to cover gambling debts, Mom. He made a mistake. We all make mistakes." She was crying now. My mother could turn on tears like a faucet when she needed to manipulate someone. "When your brother ends up in the hospital or worse, I hope you can live with yourself." She hung up. My father called 20 minutes later. "Sweetheart, what if we structured it as a loan? You could charge interest." Did no. The answer is no. Your mother is beside herself. You know her blood pressure. Then maybe she should stop enabling Marcus instead of trying to guilt me into doing it. Long silence. Then my father said something I'll never forget. "You used to be such a sweet girl, Diane. I don't know when you became so cold." "Cold? Because I wouldn't bankrupt my family to save my 32-year-old brother from his own stupidity." They didn't speak to me for 2 weeks. My daughter Emma kept asking why Grandma and Grandpa hadn't called and I didn't know what to say. Then on a Wednesday evening my mother called. Her voice was cheerful like nothing had ever happened. "Hi, sweetheart. I was thinking Emma could come stay with us this weekend. We haven't seen her in so long. I should have known something was wrong. I should have trusted my instincts. But I was tired and I missed my parents. I wanted to believe they were moving past this." "That would be nice," I said. "Let me check with Derek." "Perfect. We'll pick her up Friday after school." But here's what you need to understand. My parents weren't planning a normal visit. They were planning something so twisted that even now I sometimes wake up shaking. Because that storm they locked Emma outside in? They checked the weather forecast. They planned it. And when I found out what they did to my baby to punish me, well, what I did to them in response made Marcus's gambling debts look like pocket change. But I'm getting ahead of myself. First, you need to understand exactly what happened that Friday night. And trust me, you won't believe what these people did to their own granddaughter. Friday came and my parents picked up Emma from school like we'd planned. She was so excited, she loved staying at their house, playing in their big backyard, baking cookies with my mom. I kissed her goodbye and told her to be good. That was the last normal moment I had before everything fell apart. Saturday morning I woke up to 17 missed calls. 17. My heart was already racing before I even listened to the first voicemail. It was my mother and she was screaming. Not talking, screaming. "You need to come get your daughter right now. We can't handle this, Diane. She's hysterical, she won't stop crying, she's been like this since last night." I didn't even hang up. I just grabbed my keys and ran. Derek and I made it to my parents' house in 12 minutes. Emma was on the couch, wrapped in blankets, shivering even though the house was warm. Her eyes were red and swollen, her hair was still damp, and when she saw me she started sobbing so hard she couldn't breathe. "Mommy, they locked me outside." I was so scared. I pulled her into my arms. "What are you talking about, baby?" My mother was standing in the doorway, arms crossed. "She's being dramatic. It was barely 5 minutes." 5 minutes. Emma looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. "Mommy, it was forever." It was thundering and I was banging on the door and they wouldn't let me in. My blood went cold. You locked her outside? During the storm last night. We were teaching you, about what real sacrifice looks like, my father said calmly, like this was a reasonable thing to say. You won't sacrifice a little money to save your brother, but you expect us to just accept that? I stared at him. You used my daughter to punish me? We put her outside for a few minutes so she'd understand that sometimes family requires sacrifice, my mother said. She's fine, Diane. Stop being so dramatic. Do you see what I was dealing with? They genuinely believed they'd done nothing wrong. How long? I asked Emma gently. I don't know, Mommy. Felt like a really long time. I was so cold and wet and the thunder was so loud. She was out there for 20 minutes, my father said like he was proud of it. And she certainly learned her lesson about respecting family. 20 minutes. In a thunderstorm. Derek was already on his phone. I'm calling the police. You'll do no such thing, my mother shrieked. We're her grandparents. We have rights. You have the right to remain silent, Derek said coldly. Which I suggest you exercise until the cops get here. My parents started screaming then, about how ungrateful I was, how they'd raised me better than this, how Emma was fine and we were overreacting. My mother actually said, children are resilient. This is nothing compared to what we went through as kids. I didn't engage. I just held my daughter and waited for the police. When the officers arrived, my parents changed their tune completely. Suddenly they were the concerned grandparents, and we were the hysterical parents overreacting to a misunderstanding. But Emma told them everything. How Grandma had opened the back door and told her to go outside for a minute. How when the rain started and Emma tried to come back in, the door was locked. How she'd banged and cried while lightning flashed and thunder shook the ground. One of the officers took me aside. Ma'am, do you want to press charges? Yes, I said without hesitation. And I want to file a report. I want all of this documented. My mother started crying, the real kind this time, not her manipulative tears. Diane, please. We made a mistake. Don't do this to us. You made a mistake? I turned to face her. You planned this. You checked the weather forecast. You waited for a storm. This wasn't a mistake. It was calculated abuse. What I didn't tell them right then was what I'd already decided. I was going to make them pay for this in every way possible. Because here's the thing. My parents' house has a full security system. Cameras everywhere, including the backyard. And they were so focused on teaching me a lesson that they'd completely forgotten those cameras would record everything. I was going to get that footage. And then I was going to call my lawyer. And what happened next? Well, let's just say my parents had no idea what was coming for them. The police report was filed. Emma was examined by our pediatrician who documented everything. The fear, the trauma, the fact that she was now terrified of thunderstorms. Derek and I took her home and I held her while she finally fell asleep. Then I got to work. Monday morning I called my lawyer, Patricia. We'd used her for our real estate closing and I knew she didn't mess around. Diane, what they did isn't just morally wrong, it's criminal, Patricia said after I explained everything. Child endangerment at minimum. But if you want to really hit them where it hurts, we go after their assets. Tell me how. That security footage you mentioned? We subpoena it. We also file a civil suit for emotional distress and damages. Your daughter's going to need therapy after this, right? Absolutely. Those costs add up. Medical bills, therapeutic care, pain and suffering. And here's the beautiful part. If we can prove this was intentional and malicious, which the footage will show, we can pursue punitive damages. We make an example out of them. Was I really going to sue my own parents? You're probably wondering if I had any doubts. I didn't. Not even for a second. Do it, I said. Patricia moved fast. By Wednesday we had the subpoena for the security footage. My parents tried to claim the system was broken, and there was no footage, but their security company confirmed otherwise. The judge wasn't amused by their lie. When I finally watched that footage, I had to stop it 3 times because I was shaking so hard. You could see Emma going outside looking confused. Then the rain starting. Then her running back to the door pulling the handle. Banging. The lightning flashing. You could see her little body flinching with each thunder crack. And through the glass door you could see my mother and father inside sitting at the kitchen table watching her. Watching her cry and beg to come inside. 23 minutes. Not 20. 23. My father even got up once, walked toward the door like he might open it, and my mother grabbed his arm and shook her head. I sent the footage to Patricia. This is everything we need, she said. But I wasn't done. See, my parents thought they were untouchable. They'd spent decades believing that family loyalty meant everyone had to protect them, cover for them, enable them no matter what they did. I called my Aunt Linda, my dad's sister. She'd always been the reasonable one in the family, and she'd never approved of how my parents treated Marcus versus how they treated me. Linda, I need to tell you something, I said, and I told her everything. There was a long silence. Then, send me that footage. Why? Because your parents have been borrowing money from everyone in this family to bail Marcus out, and we're all tired of it. They owe me $12,000 from last year. If they're about to face a lawsuit, I want to know about it. It turned out my parents owed money to half the family. Linda started making calls. Within 2 days, 3 different relatives had contacted lawyers about getting their money back. My parents finally called me Thursday night. My father's voice was shaking. Diane, we need to talk. Please. Let's work this out as a family. Now you want to talk? After you traumatized my daughter. We didn't mean for it to go that far. Your mother and I, we were so angry about Marcus, and we thought. You thought you'd punish a 7-year-old child to get back at me? Please, Diane. Drop the lawsuit. We'll do anything. We'll apologize to Emma. We'll pay for her therapy, whatever you want. You're going to pay for her therapy anyway. The court's going to make sure of that. My mother grabbed the phone. You vindictive little. This is what we get for raising you? For everything we did for you? You're going to destroy us over nothing. And that's when I snapped. Nothing? Nothing? You locked my baby outside in a thunderstorm for almost half an hour. You watched her beg to come inside, and you sat there and did nothing. And you think I'm the problem here? We were trying to make you understand. No. You were trying to manipulate me. The same way you've manipulated me my entire life to make everything about Marcus. But I'm done, Mom. I'm done protecting you from the consequences of your choices. I hung up. The lawsuit moved forward. And what my parents didn't know yet was that Patricia had found something interesting in their financial records. Something that was going to make everything so much worse for them. Because it turned out that the money they'd been borrowing from family members, they'd been lying about where it was going. And when the truth came out, well, that's when things really got interesting. Patricia called me on a Tuesday afternoon, and I could hear the satisfaction in her voice. Diane, you're going to want to sit down for this. What did you find? Your parents have been telling family members they needed money for medical bills, home repairs, emergency expenses. But I pulled their financial records through Discovery, and guess where most of that money actually went? I closed my eyes. Marcus. Bingo. $73,000 over the past 2 years, funneled directly to your brother or to pay off his debts. They've been running a systematic con on your entire family. Imagine finding out your parents have been lying to everyone, stealing from relatives under false pretenses, all to enable your brother's addiction. How would you feel? I felt sick. And angry. And finally free of any guilt about what I was doing to them. There's more, Patricia continued. They took out a second mortgage on their house 6 months ago. $40,000. Care to guess where that money went? Marcus. You're good at this game. Here's the problem for them. They're already behind on payments. They've got maybe 3 months before the bank starts foreclosure proceedings. And with our lawsuit adding on, they're done, Diane. Completely done. How much are we suing for? With therapy costs, emotional distress, punitive damages? I'm going for $250,000. And based on that footage and the evidence, I think we'll get every penny. The preliminary hearing was set for 3 weeks later. In the meantime, my Aunt Linda had started a group chat with all the relatives my parents owed money to. Turned out there were 7 different family members who'd loaned them money for various fake emergencies. Linda didn't hold back. They've been scamming all of us to pay for Marcus's gambling. I just found out they told me Mom needed a new medical device, but there was no medical device. It all went to Marcus. I'm filing a claim to get my money back, and I suggest you all do the same. My Uncle Robert responded within minutes. I'm in. They told me it was for Dad's funeral expenses. Said the funeral home needed payment up front. I gave them $8,000 3 years ago. Never saw a receipt. Cousin Jennifer. They said they needed money for Mom's cancer treatment. $15,000. I even skipped a vacation with my kids to help them. I'm filing tomorrow. One by one, family members came forward with their stories. My cousin Blake had given them $5,000 for emergency car repairs. My Uncle Stephen had paid for what he thought was Dad's root canal. $6,000. All of it had gone to Marcus. The family turned on them. Every single person they'd borrowed from was now coming after them for repayment. Some were filing small claims suits. Others were just demanding their money back immediately. My mother called me hysterical. Your Aunt Linda is trying to take our house. Your own family is destroying us, and you started this. You turned everyone against us. No, Mom. You started this when you locked Emma outside. Everything else. That's just the truth catching up to you. We don't have the money to pay everyone back. We'll lose everything. the house, our savings, everything we worked for. Then maybe you should have thought about that before you enabled Marcus for the 100th time. Or before you abused my daughter. Did you really think there wouldn't be consequences? She was sobbing now. We were just trying to help our son. What kind of parents would we be if we let him get hurt? What kind of grandparents lock a 7-year-old outside in a thunderstorm? I shot back. You made your choice. You chose Marcus over everyone else, over basic human decency. Now you get to live with it. Marcus finally called me himself that night. His voice was different, smaller, scared. Diane, you have to stop this. Mom and Dad are falling apart. Dad had a panic attack yesterday. Mom's not eating. She just sits in the dark crying. And whose fault is that, Marcus? Mine, okay? It's my fault. I'm the one with the problem. I'm the one who gambled away their money, who kept coming back for more. But there are parents, Diane. Are you really going to let them lose their house? Their entire life? Yes, I said simply. Yes, I am. Because they made their choices and now they get to live with them. Just like you wanted me to live with the consequences of saying no to you. I never wanted this. I never wanted them to hurt Emma. But you were fine with them bankrupting themselves for you. You were fine with them lying to the whole family, stealing from relatives, destroying their own lives as long as it benefited you. You just didn't want anyone to face consequences. Well, guess what? Consequences are here, Marcus. For all of you. He was quiet for a long moment. I'm going to rehab. I found a program and I'm going. I just thought you should know. Good, I said. That's the first smart thing you've done in years. The hearing went exactly as Patricia predicted. The judge watched the security footage, read Emma's medical and psychological evaluations, and listened to my parents' lawyer try to claim it was a misunderstanding blown out of proportion. A misunderstanding, the judge repeated, her voice sharp. Counselor, I watched 23 minutes of footage showing a terrified child in a severe thunderstorm, begging to be let inside while your client sat at their kitchen table and watched. Your client, Mrs. Henderson, is clearly visible physically stopping her husband from opening the door. That's not a misunderstanding. That's calculated, intentional infliction of emotional distress on a minor child. My mother's lawyer tried to argue about family dynamics, about how my parents had acted in a moment of frustration and deeply regretted their actions. The judge cut him off. Save it. I've seen the evidence. I've read the medical reports about this child's ongoing trauma and fear of storms. This court finds in favor of the plaintiff on all counts. She ruled in our favor on every single count. $250,000 in damages, plus all of Emma's ongoing therapy costs, plus a restraining order preventing my parents from contacting Emma or coming within 500 feet of her. My mother collapsed in the courtroom wailing. My father just stared at me like I was a stranger, like he didn't recognize his own daughter. Outside, Derek squeezed my hand. How do you feel? Honestly, I felt empty. Not satisfied, not victorious, just exhausted and sad and final. Because here's the thing nobody tells you about getting justice. It doesn't actually make you feel better. It doesn't erase what happened. It just makes things final. It draws a line and says, this is over now. Within a week, my parents' house went into foreclosure. The bank wasn't interested in waiting, not with all the other creditors circling. Aunt Linda and the others filed their claims. My parents were drowning in debt, facing bankruptcy, losing everything. And I waited to feel something. Satisfaction maybe. Victory. But all I felt was tired. But what happened next? That's when things took a turn I never expected. Because sometimes people surprise you. Sometimes when they've lost everything and hit absolute rock bottom, they actually start to change. And what my parents did in those final weeks before they lost everything. Well, it wasn't redemption. Not even close. But it was something. It was the first real honest thing they'd done in years. And it changed everything. 6 weeks after the judgment, I got a letter in the mail. An actual handwritten letter from my father. Diane, I'm not writing to ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I'm writing because you deserve to know the truth. Watching that security footage in court, seeing Emma's face. I can't unsee it. I can't unhear her crying for us to let her in. We failed you. We failed Emma. We chose Marcus over everyone else for so long that we forgot how to be decent human beings. Marcus is in rehab. 6-month program. For the first time he's taking it seriously. He asked us not to bail him out anymore. We're losing the house next month. Moving into a small apartment. We've both taken part-time jobs to start paying back the family. It'll take years, but we're going to do it. I'm not asking you to drop the restraining order. I'm just asking you to know that we understand now. We understand what we did. And we're sorry. Dad. I read it 3 times. Derek read it over my shoulder. What do you think? He asked. I don't know. 2 weeks later, Aunt Linda called. Your parents want to set up a trust fund for Emma's therapy. They're putting in everything they have left. About $8,000. They wanted you to know it's not to reduce what they owe you. Just because they want to help her heal. They can't afford that. I know. They're doing it anyway. Do you think people can really change? Or do they just get better at saying what you want to hear? 3 months later, Marcus had graduated from his program and gotten a job. He was going to AA meetings 5 times a week. My parents had started paying people back. Small amounts but consistent. Every month. And then Emma asked me something that broke my heart. Mommy, do you think Grandma and Grandpa still love me? I knelt down to her level. Baby, why are you asking that? Because they did something really bad to me. But I miss them sometimes. Is that wrong? How do you explain to a 7-year-old that people can love you and still hurt you? It's not wrong to miss them, I said. And yes, I think they love you. They just made a really, really bad choice. Do you still love them? Did I? I honestly didn't know anymore. 6 months after the judgment, I agreed to one supervised meeting. Just me and my parents with a therapist present. My mother looked older. My father looked broken. We were wrong, my mother said simply. Everything we did. We were wrong. Why did you do it? I asked. Why, Emma? My father's hands were shaking. Because we were desperate to make you understand how we felt. We were so angry that we stopped thinking clearly. We stopped thinking at all. You could have killed her. I know, my mother whispered. And I'll never forgive myself. We talked for 2 hours. They didn't ask me to drop anything. They just talked. Honestly. For the first time maybe ever. My father said, we know we can't fix this. But if there's ever a chance, any chance, we want to be better. We want to be the grandparents she deserved. I didn't make promises. But I didn't say no either. A year later, after months of therapy and supervised visits, Emma asked if she could see them at the park. Just for an hour with Derek and me there. She was nervous. They were nervous. But she brought them a picture she'd drawn. Our family, all of us holding hands. My mother cried when she saw it. Are we a happy family now? Oh, probably never will be. There's too much damage. But we're trying. My parents sold everything and moved into a tiny apartment. They're still paying people back. Marcus has been sober for over a year and keeps his distance. His therapist says he needs that and they respect it. Emma still has nightmares sometimes. But she's getting better. And she knows I will always protect her. My parents lost everything. Their house, their savings, their reputation. And honestly, they deserve to. But maybe there's a difference between unforgivable and unfixable. I don't know if we'll ever be whole again. But we're trying. And sometimes that's all you can do. So that's my story. Did I do the right thing? Was I too harsh or not harsh enough? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to know what you think. And if this story resonated with you, hit that like button. Something didn't sit right, tell me that too. Honest feedback means everything. Thank you for listening. It means more than you know.